No one really knew what to do when Celeste Kingsley walked into the restaurant. Everyone whispered, glanced, and then stared, as if her mere presence warped the air around her. She was young, impossibly beautiful, dressed in designer clothes that gleamed under the soft lighting, and carried herself with a pride that made her seem untouchable. But there was also a sharpness in her eyes, an unspoken warning that made the staff nervous and the regular customers uneasy. Rumors flew like wildfire. Some said she was spoiled, others that she was cruel, but everyone agreed on one thing: she was the millionaire's daughter, and no one wanted to cross her. The manager, a stout man named Harold, was the first to feel her icy glare that afternoon. She had walked in, the gold chain of her purse catching the light, and ordered the most complicated, obscure dish on the menu, one that none of the chefs had ever prepared. Harold fumbled nervously, stammering apologies as he tried to explain that the kitchen might struggle. Celeste's voice cut through the tension like a knife, crisp and clear. "I expect perfection. If you can't handle that, perhaps you should reconsider your job." With that, she turned her eyes on the diners, who looked away quickly, pretending not to witness her command. For most of the staff, that should have been the breaking point, the moment to retreat and hope she left. But there was a new waitress in the restaurant, a young woman named Lily, who had only been working there for a month. She was friendly, soft-spoken, and had an innate warmth that made people relax around her. When she saw Celeste sitting at her table, the tension around her felt suffocating. The other waiters hesitated, but Lily squared her shoulders, approached the table, and smiled. "Hello, I'm Lily," she said, her voice gentle but confident. "I'll be taking care of you today. I promise we'll make everything perfect for you." Celeste raised an eyebrow, skeptical, but there was something in Lily's calm demeanor that didn't trigger her usual irritation. Perhaps it was the sincerity in her smile, or the way she leaned slightly forward without being obsequious. For the first time in a long time, Celeste didn't feel like she had to hide behind her perfection, her expectations, her armor. She simply nodded. "Fine, but I warn you, I don't like mistakes." Lily didn't flinch. "Neither do I. Let's make sure everything's right." The way Lily handled the order was meticulous. She listened, clarified, and even remembered small preferences from past customers that helped her anticipate Celeste's needs. When the dish arrived, it was exactly as Celeste had imagined, each detail flawless. Celeste's lips twitched, almost a smile, but she quickly masked it. "Not bad," she said, almost grudgingly. Over the following weeks, something began to shift. Celeste came to the restaurant more often, always requesting Lily. The other staff whispered, trying to understand this sudden change. Some speculated that Celeste had grown bored of intimidating people, that she secretly craved attention and approval, but no one guessed the truth. Celeste had spent her life being feared and admired, never understood. People responded to her wealth, her looks, or her authority, but no one saw Celeste as a person, as someone who longed for genuine kindness. Lily, unconsciously, offered her that. She didn't treat Celeste differently because of her money or status. She didn't flinch at her sharp words, nor did she fawn over her. She simply treated her as a human being, with patience, respect, and quiet friendliness. It was revolutionary for Celeste. She found herself laughing at Lily's little jokes, opening up about things she had never shared, her insecurities, her fears, even her loneliness. One afternoon, Celeste lingered after her meal, unusually restless. Lily noticed, and without asking, she pulled a chair to sit nearby. "You don't have to go yet, do you?" she asked gently. Celeste hesitated, then whispered, almost to herself, "I hate feeling invisible, and yet, everyone stares at me like I'm too fragile to touch." Lily nodded. "That sounds exhausting. You shouldn't have to hide or pretend." "No one should." For the first time, Celeste felt understood. She had spent years performing, wearing masks, bending to the expectations of society, family, and strangers. But here, across the table, she could just be herself. She looked at Lily and, for reasons she couldn't articulate, trusted her completely. "You don't treat me differently," she murmured. "Why would I?" Lily replied simply, "You're just a person, Celeste. That's all I see." It was a revelation. Celeste realized that the barriers she had built around herself weren't protecting her, they were isolating her. And the kindness of a single person, a waitress with no agenda, had begun to dismantle those walls. As weeks turned into months, their friendship deepened. Celeste became more relaxed, more open, more willing to interact with the world outside her bubble. She noticed things she had never seen before: the way the staff worked tirelessly yet cheerfully, the little gestures of care they offered each other, the laughter and chatter that made the restaurant a warm place rather than a stage for her scrutiny. She began leaving generous tips, not to show off her wealth, but because she genuinely appreciated Lily's effort and the kindness she had shown. One evening, the restaurant was quiet, with only a few tables occupied. Celeste approached Lily with a hesitant expression. I want to do something," she said. "Not for me, but for you." Lily tilted her head, curious. "What do you mean?" Celeste took a deep breath. "I want to start a scholarship or fund for people like you, people who work hard, who have talent but not the means. You've shown me that the right kind of kindness can change everything. I want to give that back." Lily was taken aback. She opened her mouth, then closed it, searching for words. "Celeste, you don't have to do that," she said softly. "I do," Celeste insisted. "You've taught me more about life than anyone else. And I want to help others see what I've seen. That even in the smallest places, like this restaurant, goodness can exist." Lily smiled, a warm, genuine smile that reached her eyes. "Then let's do it together. We can make it something meaningful." From that day, their partnership began. Celeste used her resources to set up scholarships for young people with dreams in the culinary arts, hospitality, and community service. Lily managed the programs, selecting recipients, mentoring them, and making sure their needs were met. Together, they changed countless lives. Students who might have never had a chance to pursue their dreams were now stepping into a future filled with opportunity. Celeste herself changed too. She was no longer the untouchable millionaire's daughter, the figure of whispered rumors and fearful glances. She became someone admired for her humility, her compassion, and her willingness to bridge worlds that had seemed impossible to connect. And it all began with the simple act of a kind waitress seeing her, not as a status, but as a person. One afternoon, during a busy lunch rush, Celeste walked into the restaurant, greeted with smiles not out of fear or obligation, but genuine warmth. She caught Lily's eye across the room. Lily waved, and Celeste felt that familiar flutter, the one that reminded her she belonged somewhere beyond her title, beyond her wealth, beyond the endless expectations. "Lily," she called, softly as she approached, "thank you for everything." Lily shrugged lightly, the way she always did when Celeste overpraised her. "You didn't need me to do anything. You just needed to see that kindness exists." Celeste laughed quietly, a sound that was rare and precious. She realized that while wealth and status had defined her for years, it was the simple humanity of another person that had truly reshaped her life. She had learned to trust, to laugh, to give, and to accept love and friendship in its purest form. And she would carry that lesson forward, not as a lesson in etiquette or expectation, but as a lesson in the transformative power of genuine kindness. Years later, the restaurant became a symbol of something larger than just food and service. It became a place where anyone could come and feel seen, respected, and valued. And every time Celeste visited, she would find Lily there, offering the same quiet smile, the same patient care, the same unwavering belief in the goodness of people. It was in those moments that Celeste understood the truth she had never grasped in all her years of wealth and privilege. No amount of money could teach empathy, no luxury could replace connection, and no reputation could substitute for genuine human kindness. One kind act, extended without expectation, had altered the trajectory of her life, and through her, countless others. And so, the millionaire's daughter who once terrified everyone with a glance became a force of compassion and change, all because one kind waitress had chosen to see her not for her status, but for her humanity. It wasn't a fairy tale in the way people expected. There were no magical transformations overnight, no perfect endings free from struggle or doubt. Celeste still faced challenges, misunderstandings, and moments of self-doubt. But she faced them differently, with humility, courage, and the knowledge that kindness could bridge even the deepest divides. She had learned that true power was not in wealth or fear, but in lifting others, nurturing trust, and recognizing the value in every person. And Lily, she continued to serve, to mentor, to smile, to change lives quietly yet profoundly. She never sought recognition, but the world recognized her impact anyway. Together, they showed that even in a world obsessed with status and appearances, the simplest acts of care could ripple outward in ways no one could anticipate, creating a legacy that money alone could never buy. By the time Celeste looked back on her life, she realized that the greatest turning point hadn't been an investment, a business decision, or a lavish gift. It had been the day she met Lily, the waitress who treated her like a person. That meeting had reshaped her understanding of the world, her place within it, and the way she wanted to use her privilege. It had set in motion a life defined not by fear or expectations, but by connection, compassion, and the enduring power of human kindness. In the end, the world might still whisper about the millionaire's daughter. But now, the whispers were different. They spoke of generosity, empathy, and transformation. And Celeste, once untouchable and aloof, knew the truth. The real wealth in life is measured not by the numbers in a bank account, but by the love we give, the lives we touch, and the kindness we choose to show when no one is watching. And in that restaurant, amid the clatter of dishes and the chatter of customers, she finally felt at home.